Welcome back to
Holy
Trash
shit.
Trades.
Jesus Christ.
Welcome back. Episode 22, I think. Episode
Goodness.
22. For the 22 episode special, VJ right now is blindfolded and we're in a bath together. VJ, what are you feeling right now? Giving him a little toe massage.
Feeling some warmth. I'm feeling a little vulnerable because I thought we were going to keep that to ourselves. But I'm also feeling energized because chamomile in a bath is not really a thing I tried before, but it's very soothing.
You know, VJ was
Feels
against
very
like the
cleansing.
salts. I'm a big salts guy in my bath. VJ was like, no, don't add them, don't add them. Anyway, you know, now he's warmed up. You know, we've sat here for like 10 minutes and he's he's liking the salts. Are you liking the salts, VJ?
I would have to say the salts. You know, as an American, we mostly only know about salt in our food, but this is a lot better than I could have imagined. I think I'm a salt guy now to myself.
All right, and yeah. Anyway, let's go into
You're
this.
for sure getting arrested. For sure getting arrested for these jokes.
No, we won't be. We won't be. And by the way, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It's a 22nd episode special. BJ.
Yeah,
BJ's,
I mean, you know, men take baths. Men and boys take baths together.
100%.
That's Mr. Milwani.
100%. You can't really fit. You know, it's pretty full, but
I was gonna
we're
say
enjoying
pause,
ourselves.
This whole thing is pause. I was gonna say pause right there, but this whole thing is pause, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
All right, BJ's gonna fucking bless us with a trade. Let's move on from this bullshit ass intro. Anyway, play the intro.
Order filled.
All right, here we are, guys. What's up?
Okay, that was too soon. Don't talk so soon, BJ. Let it
Dude,
play.
I waited.
No, you didn't. You waited a second.
No, okay. I thought I waited. My brain's going too fast. Because I thought I waited 4 seconds. I swear to God, I thought I waited. Are you sure it was too fast?
It was definitely
guys,
too fast. It's fine.
Getting yelled at when you're in the bath, it's not cool, man. You know what? Roll the intro again. Fuck it. Hit it.
Order filled.
Okay.
That was a nice wait. See, listen, we're progressing on the 22nd episode. We've done all these fucking intros, and BJ doesn't even know how to wait for the intro noise.
That shit felt so long, but I was like, okay, what you thought was 4 seconds was not. So wait 4 times longer. So I just was like,
there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Okay, guys. So we have a very interesting trade. It's an interesting trade. I don't know if it's a trash trade. It's interesting. Okay. So lately, I've been becoming such a psycho that if I feel like the draw is sort of clear or I have a reasonable draw, I'll play. Well, you know, these aren't evals, so that should be known. If I was doing this with like a PA, they would be like 1-2 micros. I'm doing these for like 1-2 minis. It is like, but the thing is like, what's your read on price? And you shouldn't be scared to engage in trades simply because of the risk. You should minimize the risk, but if it's in your strategy, you should do it. I've noticed watching price for about a year now, but with these strategies for months, started to realize like you can see the price sometimes in the manipulation and play the manipulation, and you can play into the 9:30 Eastern opening move, where you know there's a lot of like a liquidity injection, a lot of volatility comes in, and the price does some crazy stuff for a while. But if you have a good sense on what the draw is or what it might need to sweep, then you can utilize it to your advantage and have a very lucrative, very fast moving trade. Hydra sort of got me thinking about this. He's like the breaker block god on Twitter, and his favorite time to enter trades is like 8:20 to 8:40, which is at the 8:30 liquidity injection or news that hits then, and then the 9:20 to 9:40. So he gets in sometimes previous to that, and then you allow that volatility to play for you. You know, traders think that we don't want volatility. You do. That's how you get paid. If the price is not volatile, it just moves sideways. There's nothing for you to do.
Yep.
That's why people who trade through chop, like, it's antagonistic to even do that. If you can get into a position at chop, but to be trading through, entering and exiting in the chop and being like, yeah, I'm killing it, this is a leverage, like, you're just taking chances, and you can just make more money if you play for bigger moves. So what I generally look for in these times is a PD array that is being formed onwards to the draw. So we had many bullish days. I don't want to go too far ahead to ruin what happens, but we were very bullish for the week, and we got the day before a little bit of a pullback. You see, we sort of swept here, and then we broke structure here. So for the first time, I wasn't completely sure where we were going to. For the first time in like the week kept looking like leaving like low resistance liquidity, and then it would come take it like all week until last week. It's like, are we going to be bearish? Are we going to chop sideways? The week was sort of like a seek and destroy profile in itself. It went up the first 2 days, little consolidation, then down on Thursday, and then Friday. It's like, is it really going to go up for these draws, or is it going to chop sideways, or are we going to continue down before we pop up? Who knows, right? So what I was thinking after I saw this order block on the hourly get made, we wicked out all of these lows that were made in Asia and London and pre New York, and around 6:30 we started making a major move up. My thought process was this: at the very least, it looks like since we're making a move up, that we might be making, like a move down, like a move up to make a continuation move down. So I was looking to essentially start exiting like in this area if I entered a trade, like a quick scalp into the discount / OTE optimal trade entry area for a short, just because I'm not too sure if we are going to go for the highs or not. But I at least know that the price is likely to go here if it needs to go down or up. Okay, so that was the reasoning on that. So now that my draw is more clear, literally I was just using the fibs. There isn't too much structure here. I mean, obviously there's like some like order blocks and stuff that you can sort of see, but you see on the higher time frame there's not really much. Like there's this here, I was sort of looking at that. There's this here. I think there might even be like, yeah, there's a volume imbalance here on the 15 minute. I think there's on the hour, maybe even. So I'm
So
like, okay,
what was
cool.
your bias, or what did you think the draw was on this day?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't sure what the bias for the day was, but I could tell we're making a move up. So I anticipate honestly the wrong thing for the daily move. I was like, it's likely to just make a move up into here and then come down. Or if it's going to continue to this weekly volume imbalance in the previous month high, previous day high, it'll still need to head to this direction. And it'll just continue, right? So I was like, okay, I'm starting to see, pre 9:30, we made this 5 minute fair value gap, and I marked it, and I was just watching for it, right? And a lot of times, like when they tap into here in situations, if you're trying to get an entry pre-news, if your read on the draw is good, usually on a major PD array or bigger, higher time frame PD array, 5 is all right. 15 or hour could be better. You could make an entry here and then like hold through the news and just, feel as if like, let's say you're going to enter longs on this anyway, you probably put your stop here and then like just see what it does. It's a reasonable stop. It's not too large. And like, if it delivers, it delivers. That's how I started messing with it. And I started realizing like, yeah, it's actually not that much risk if you are aware and ready. I was already ready by like 8:30. I was just like doing stuff, brushing my teeth, realizing this, and I was just waiting. I was like, okay, this is probably an interesting area. So we'll take it from here. Look at the one, and let the candles play out. So boom, boom. So I enter.
Wait, can you
Right
plot
there.
plot like a long
Yeah.
entry?
Sorry, my bad. Yeah,
No
yeah.
worries.
The reason why I didn't do this before is you're gonna sort of see.
It's better for the visuals.
Yes. You're gonna sort of see.
And put it on the
So
candles,
literally,
under the
no,
candles.
no, no, no. I'm going to. Don't worry.
There you go.
And I'm looking like for this. So it seems like it's quite a scalp, but it's 50 points, 41 points,
Yeah.
and for like 9. This is like a 5-to-1 RR trade. The volatility should get me there fast. Okay. So let's see how this goes. So everything looks good. This is very common. Not that great for it to retap, but still valuing the PD array, right? 925 looks great, right? Everything is good. This is exactly what normally happens, and I'm anticipating maybe a little pullback into this order block, and then we move up. What time is it? 9:28. 9:29 occurs. Shit's popping. Oops.
Ooh. And you're
So
out.
this is where, yeah, I'm out. So this
Okay.
is where the secret sort of happens. Okay, I actually knew that this was likely because of this guy. There is this 15-minute fair value gap that was right under this 5. Remember, I sort of mentioned the 5 wasn't large enough. 5 is, I would like to see a higher time frame situation in terms of like a PD array. I want a higher time frame PD array than simply just the 5, because you know the volatility can get a little wild,
Yeah.
right? And I see this happen, and I'm just a robot, and I'm like, I was anticipating this as possible. And I was thinking, like, if this happened, or thinking about not entering and just waiting to see what it did, which would have been actually smarter.
Yeah, I agree.
But sometimes this works. Like, sometimes you just get a clear like tap of this like 15, and it just moves up, and then 9:30 happens, it pulls back a little bit, and just runs. And that's what's mostly been happening as I've been taking these type of trades into 9:30. This one came and got me, but because I've been playing and sort of realizing, I had a feeling it was going to do so. So in these next couple minutes, wow, incredible.
Great ringtone.
I will absolutely murder my phone. That's incredible. That's when I should be waking up. Here we are recording. I see this reaction and I'm like, okay. Like, let me figure this out. What am I gonna do? Am I right that this is gonna go up, or am I gonna fall into some fuckery, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not really too sure what happens, but my executions here sort of get to shit. I take another trade here. I put
Another
my
one.
stop. Yeah, I take another entry. I put my stop way too close in like half of here because I'm just taking like barely any chance because I'm very like I'm like not scared off by my bias of this. Like I'm telling you, I'm feeling nothing. And I put my stop too close and I get wicked out again. I don't know exactly where it was because like the shit was happening fast. And then I had the stop process like, yo, bro, are you melting down right now? Or are you like, is this like a serious thing? And are you actually like trading for this? Like, or are you about to get shook out because you didn't have the patience here? Like I thought about putting my stop down here. Like from here to
Yeah.
here, the stop is only 15 points, which is still reasonable. But
Yeah,
I was
that's
just
not
being
bad.
safe. No, it's not that bad, but I was just being reasonable. So he took a small stop, right? I didn't lose that much money. I did it again, even smaller stop, probably lost like 3 or 4 points. And I'm like, okay, that second entry is ass. That's the trash trade. So I take this entry again and I get stopped out, which is insane. And then I'm doing a little study on myself, which everyone should do when it comes to trading if you're doing stuff like this. Like, many times I've noticed I'll be right, but then scared out of playing my bias because I executed it wrong. And the thing is, though, like, you have to be highly aware. Am I revenge trading? What am I actually doing? Is this still valid? And then maybe take an execution again. So after I get stopped out for a second time, I take a second and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I take a look at this whole price action. I see, okay, we go into this 15-minute fair value gap and we do respect the CE, the 50% mark of it, and immediately react. We're already over now this 5-minute fair value gap and we're not closing under it yet. We've sort of set up low resistance liquidity here, and it still does seem like we're about to head up, like we just Judas down to sort of just move up. And these are still reasonable targets. And I decide to enter again. And this is what happens. However, on this entry, I put my stop down to here. So let me see how this works. Yeah, okay. I think I enter like in this candle, and I instead now put my stop like at the bottom of this fair value gap, but really like if we close at the CE or really could be below here. We close in the CE, like I'm out. Still a 2.5 hour trade, and we can make our money back. And this is how the trade goes. Taps in again, values that. We're all good. Okay, that's looking pretty sexual. I took one trim here because I was in two minis. So this already gave me back a good amount of erased one of the losses and took away like half of the other one. And now, as that happens, and I see, okay, this order block is now holding a price, I'm like, we really shouldn't get lower than this order block if this is sort of continuing like this movement. So I think now that we'd sort of broken structure above, I think I just moved my stop up just a tiny bit. Just because I know, like, okay, we're already up and I don't want to let this go like too negative. So I move it like somewhere in this area. Okay. That does that. And I'm like, okay, I really sort of can't let this thing go negative against me, but we're just watching. It's at 23 points. And now you see, like, okay, this price is going there. Now, at this point, I was wondering, do I have to cut it? Because it started to look like it might taper for a retrace, and I don't know if I want to go through that. But then, 930 does what 930 does. And I take my profits there. And I actually sort of had to because I was working on top step accounts, and the profits were like more than I'd want on the day. They certainly erased these losses. And as you can see, like by 9:41, I'm done with my first trade.
So I question this a lot, and it's something that I've kind of been implementing, to my trading a little bit. But I feel so you entered your trade and you got stopped out like straight away. And you saw the 15. You said it entered your 15-minute fair value gap, and quite frankly, we got a very big explosive move upwards. The candle afterwards, I think it's the 9:30ish candle or 9:31. 9:31 candle. What I was in the habit of doing, I think closer to last week, was if I get stopped out straight away and a big explosive move happens in my direction after I'm already out, usually I would kind of reset my my bias, see if I'm still in that I'm still bullishly biased and I still have my draw and I'm not wrong. And what I'd sometimes do, was I would re-enter on my re-enter on the candle afterwards and then place the stop previously. Because at times, a lot of the liquidity runs, if I get stopped out straight away and, you see a big reaction to that stopping out of that low where my stop loss was, it tends to be a textbook liquidity sweep.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was anticipating this, and I took this. This ended up taking 3 trades. I don't know if you heard that. I took another one, and I put my stop way too soon. It was like a 3 point
Why
stop.
did you have your stop 3 points? That's my other question.
Listen. It was more assuming the strength of these fair value gaps together, and I just assumed, okay, it's not going to need to come under this 5 minute anymore, which is just like there's no reasoning for that. And then I'm like, okay, this will likely become an order block, so like them to come halfway in, and it's not an order block yet. So it was the second trade was the dumbest one, but it was a very minor loss, and it was essentially here and here where I was like had to come to terms like, okay, do you really believe in this trade?
Yeah.
Are you out of control right now? And I checked myself, and I was like, you know what? Like, okay, the 15-minute, it's holding with the CE. It's setting up low resistance liquidity right here. It's respecting so far this 5. I do believe in this thing. I'll enter here and set my stop down here. You know what I'm saying? It really could be here. I set it here. If it closes like under the C of this, all right, we're done. And then, it sort of took off. I took a trim right here, which erased this one and half of the first loss already. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I got in like sort of like in this candle because it like quickly that first trim like erased all that second entry and whatever. And then as we started taking off, and like now this is an order block. So now, see, I hate this thing. So I'm just gonna now, as you can see, the price is being supported. So I moved my stop like up to here. And then as we started taking off, now this becoming an order block and whatever, I just like let it play out. It hit like the 61.8 right here. Just got out.
Yeah,
Kept going for the rest of the day. But
I think it's a good representation of a feeling that I kind of get as well. I think every trader kind of can relate to it. But after I get stopped out, I'm not sure if you share the same type of feeling, but after I get stopped out, I get a humbling like feeling. I just been humbled by the market, and I'm very hesitant to re-enter. It's kind of like, I'm just gonna see if my bias works and see if the trade plays out. If you get stopped out, you're missing a good trade setup just with a bad stop. And I
often that
feel
is the case. Yeah, it depends on how much work you're doing. That is absolutely true. I
exactly.
agree.
And what I would do sometimes would be that if I see a very obvious liquidity sweep that stopped me out, yes, I would be disciplined to stop out of the trade, but I'd be very attentive on when I would re-enter. I try to combat that feeling, because every trader at the end of the day, they're going to be stopped out, and it's likely that their trade will go in their direction. What I tend to do is, as soon as I get stopped out, I exit my position, and then a couple candles later, if it still looks good, it's still in my bias, it's still in my trade plan, I'd re-enter and set the stop at the liquidity low that you got stopped at the previous time. And it tends to work. Sometimes I get a couple trades that are that would stop me out twice, but the second stop is very small, because if you do believe in
Yep.
that liquidity level, if I'm still learning some concepts, but if it went for the internal liquidity in the form of that fair value gap, and we see an explosive move straight away, I'm thinking, sure, I got stopped out, but that feeling of me being humbled, that feeling of, oh shit, I just lost some money, I will not let that affect my future decision making on when I should re-enter, because that trade setup is still valid. I just
Yeah,
need to know when to
exactly.
stop out and when to re-enter, and not
It,
let my emotions play an effect in my trade.
yeah, if the trade setup is still valid, essentially that's what I'm thinking here. And you can see, like, while I'm watching on the 5 minute, how well even like the PD arrays are actually working,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, it came and swept that 1 minute, swept these lows, tapped into here in this leg in the 50%, beautiful. And then it's like, yeah, it's still valuing it. So if you entered around here, you're actually good, especially if your stop is here, to have a high probability trade of moving up. And honestly, you know, this might be too much risk, but you could wait till the market sort of reveals its hand and enter in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this is a little bit riskier because it's like right after 10 and there might be a market structure change happening, but that doesn't look like a real sweep. But then you don't even, you could literally be like, I'm not too sure if this is going to bounce here. Well, now it's starting to look like it's going to bounce.
Yeah.
And then you see this structure. It's starting to break structure to the upside just slowly. Like, there are entries coming. I mean, even you could sort of enter in this chop. But like at some point, like you don't actually have to go through all this to see. Now it's starting to really, you know, now you can look for entries probably. I bet you there's one that happens. You don't have to do any of the shit that we were just doing. Oof. Maybe
Damn.
this is it. But you sort of see what I'm saying. This is probably the entry right here when you break this high.
Yeah.
But if you're in these things or you have a certain idea about your trade, and you've done some work and you're like pretty confident, but because you placed a stop those too close, like I did for here, rather than putting it here, and then once again here, rather than putting it down here. But if you check yourself and you are like, yeah, my trade idea is still valid, I'm just executing it improperly by putting my stops too close. Go ahead and take the trade appropriately, maybe with less risk,
Yep.
and allow that to happen. Most of us, we get frozen because we take a loss like this and then don't take the trade and watch our targets hit, or we overreact and start revenge trading, and neither of those is
Exactly.
proper. You sort of have to monitor yourself, see if you're good to take the trade, if the trade is legitimately valid, not that you want it to be valid, and then engage. This is what our job is as traders. Like, you take good trades, and like sometimes you have a great trade idea and you execute it wrong. Go ahead and try again if everything
Exactly.
is still the same.
Yeah,
Everything is
I've kind of had that feeling of re-entering and kind of suppressing my emotions. Like I said, I think it was last week where I started implementing it a little bit more. But it's something that every trader kind of shares. It tends to work for me. I think there was once I got stopped out twice. But the other two times, like I'm very attentive with my re-entering. Every trader is gonna get to a point where they're gonna be stopped out and it's gonna go their direction. And I want to push the fact that yes, stop out of your trade. Yes, take your position off the table, but keep a keen eye to when to re-enter. Because at times it'll go into your direction. It's just textbook manipulation. It's textbook liquidity sweeps. You have to be very attentive when to re-enter and when to place your stop in an accurate position.
absolutely,
I,
absolutely,
I, I would
sir.
definitely say in that second, for example, if you went to the 1 minute in the candle you entered on, the very first trade, I feel like VJ's mistake, it wasn't that he got stopped out. If he places a stop loss somewhere, it's part of his discipline to respect that stop loss. I definitely think VJ should have exited that trade, even though it was a poor stop loss placement. That's his
Yeah,
problem. But I definitely would have re-entered. I think it was 3 candles later when I see that big wick. It invalidates that candle right there. I saw a 3 candle. So that's another thing. That's this strat. It's a trading strategy, but the candle came after 2 candles after he got stopped out. That candle is a 3 candle, so it's a what's the word, BJ? It's a fucking
it's an outside bar,
it's no,
outside
it's an outside
candle.
bar, but it's a reversal candle. So
Yeah,
it's
yep, yep, yep.
it's it trades between both wicks of the previous candle, and that candle would say, okay, listen, there's buyers here. The order flow is obviously bullish because we tried to push back down to that back down to my stop loss, but we couldn't get there. We wicked up and we started edging higher, previous wicks. So that bullish type of price action, I'd look and I'd be very attentive, because the next couple
Yeah,
of candles after you get stopped out can be very crucial to regaining your position and potentially saving your trade that would have played out.
yep. That's exactly what happened. Once this happened, remember, I re-entered here, put the stop too close. This happened, and rather than thinking about the loss, I was like, okay, you put your stop too close. That was dumb. Are we wrong? I was like, this doesn't look like we're wrong. This is CE. This is holding up. This is holding up. I was like, okay. I think I might have entered one in here and then just left a limit order in here
No,
and
I
just a
gotcha.
stop there. And then it averaged out to here, and then we took off. Because
But
I was like, I sort of fucked up my entry. I was like, I'm willing to take like 4 more points of fucking drawdown just
yep,
in one position to get it back than this. And it came into here. It's like, we got him, and then now stop me out and prove this is wrong.
exactly,
And then I'm
100%.
like, I can take those losses. Like, the monetary losses I took were not that much. And the idea is honestly just becoming more valid in a
I agree.
way. So it's like
I
you
agree.
just have the nuts and fucking
Yeah.
do the damn thing. Trading is a lot about like having the confidence to take your idea.
Yeah, 100%. Execute on your belief. But
Yep.
yeah, listen, we're gonna end this episode here. Views
Yep.
have been great. All right, we're
Thank
increasing
you.
views. Same with Instagram. Instagram is fucking going off. We're loving the sport. We really are. Instagram,
Thank you so
TikTok,
much, guys.
wherever you guys see the show on. We appreciate you guys watching, liking, following. You know, maybe you could give us a little subscribe if you haven't already. You know, we definitely appreciate it.
That'd
And
be
we'll keep you up
delectable.
to date. We've got big plans on what we're gonna do. Discord sides, Instagram sides. We're always reevaluating our position to bring you guys the best content, and we're still a work in progress. We're definitely gonna make it a little bit more efficient and more fluid for the viewers. But yeah, we're gonna leave this episode here, guys. We appreciate you, and yeah, we'll see you in the next episode 23.
Love you guys. Thank you so much for
See you
everything.
guys.